Yo, hello everybody. Welcome to the entertainment headquarters and welcome to Into the Darkness. My segment on the entertainment headquarters that is dedicated to all things horror and all things, from television and movies. And here we are once again to do another very special episode because we're dedicating it to two particular films that are interlinked, interconnected, and they're two films that I personally really enjoy. And the first one, of course, is The Shining.
Yes.
That's right. And to talk about these two particular movies is two very good friends of mine, Mr. Tony of the Dead, and of course, Anthony Jordan of Anthony Jordan's Movies and Gaming. Welcome, my friends.
Thank you.
So, I know, like everybody else, obviously The Shining is based on a Stephen King novel that is very, very popular. Well, let's face it, there's not many Stephen King novels that aren't popular. So, when it comes to The Shining, the movie, which was directed by Stanley Kubrick, Mr. Tony the Dead, can you remember your first time being introduced to this film?
I honestly don't remember when I first saw this a while ago, obviously, but yeah, I don't remember the first time, to be honest. I remember not being like blown away by it, but I remember like thinking, well, I love Jack Nicholson, so I loved his performance, but like, I guess I totally didn't get it back then. That's like, watch things when you're younger and then you watch them now and it's like, oh, okay. So like, I notice more things now, but yeah, I don't really remember the first time. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like. It wasn't like, oh my god.
Yeah. What about Anthony Jordan?
Probably I want to say 98, 99, somewhere around there. I rented it from the video store, and even back then, before I learned more about the book, I didn't really care for it. And since I've learned about and read about the book, not that I don't think it's not a quality film, but since I've gotten to and learn about and read the book itself, that it just, my dislike for it intends to grow because of certain changes made, but it's still going to be a fun movie to talk about.
Yeah. Like for me, I kind of like Tony remember my first time seeing The Shining. I just remember loving it. And obviously, I am a huge Jack Nicholson fan. So, I think out of everything, even before I knew this film was a Stephen King based movie, of one of his novels, I think I'd always just classed this for a very long time as a Jack Nicholson movie.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Nicholson, who just lost his shit in, One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, to now starring in something a little bit darker in The Shining. So it wasn't until a few years after, probably many years after seeing this film, that I honestly realised it was a Stephen King book. But I do have one story I want to tell, and that is when my mum and dad were first dating, and I think it might have been the third or fourth date. My dad turned round to my mother and he was like, "Oh, would you like to go to the cinemas with us and do a cinema date? Because we've never done that." And it was like the fourth date. And the date that they picked to go to the cinema, it was a horrendous day. It was absolutely torrential rain. It was windy. It was just a horrible day. And they ended up coming to this local cinema, which was dark and dingy because it was an old-fashioned cinema that was built and actually in the 1950s. So it still looked like it come from the 1950s. And there must have been 5 people in the cinema, like in the lobby. and they were going into different doors to see different films. So my dad just paid the money to go into the cinema with my mother, who he was dating at the time. And they went and they sat in the middle of the row, like in the middle aisle, right in the middle of the cinema. There must have been one other couple there, right at the back. That was it. 4 people. And the film that they actually went to see was The Shining.
Nice. Nice.
Which my mother didn't know. That's what she was going in to see. So imagine that. Her wearing a nice frock, being absolutely soaking wet, looking like a drowned rat on a horrible dank day. Now sitting in a cold cinema watching The Shining and absolutely being terrified.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what can I say? It's probably my mum said it's the only date when me and your dad started dating that I remember.
I don't. It's not The Shining, but my mom and dad, when they were starting to date, I think their first date was the drive-in, and they went to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and she didn't like it, so she made him leave because she was too afraid.
Yeah, well, I think that's a different type of film. It's more loud and crazy.
Yeah.
Where, speaking of The Shining, it's more psychological.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, Anthony.
It's not The Shining. Well, but it's about parents seeing movies in the theater. In a couple months, when we do The Exorcist, I got a funny story from my mom about seeing that one in the theater.
Well, we'll look forward to it. And that is going to be in February. So that's right. We'll talk a bit more about that right at the end of the stream. But The Shining is a 1980 psychological horror film produced and directed by Stanley Kubrick and co-written with novelist Diane Johnson. It is based on Stephen King's 1977 novel and stars Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, Danny Lloyd, and Scatman Crothers. The film presents the descent into insanity of a recovering alcoholic and aspiring novelist who takes a job at as a winter caretaker for a mountain resort hotel with his wife and clairvoyant son. Production took place mostly exclusively in England at EMI Elstree Studios, with sets based on real locations. Kubrick often worked with a small crew, which allowed him to do many takes, sometimes to the exhaustion of the actors and the staff. The then new Steadicam mount was used to shoot several scenes, giving the film an innovative and impressive look and feel.
Yeah.
So the film cost 19 million to make, and it made 50 million at the box office, which way back when it came out in 1980 was probably considerable a lot of money for the budget that they had.
Oh, yeah.
So my good friend Anthony Jordan, do you want to talk about the plot? And maybe because you are a fan of the book, because I've never read the book, talk about the plot in your own way, but also give, elements of the novel at the same time. The things that you like and dislike.
All right, but before I do, I want to point out just something to show how much films have changed. It's profit towards budget ratio. If a film had come out today with that profit towards budget ratio, the studio would be it underperformed.
Oh, definitely.
But the plot is, the basic setup is simple. You have a father named Jack Torrance with a bit of a troubled past. He's a man with a history in alcoholism who injured his son in a moment of alcoholic rage, who he's not at rock bottom, but he's not too far from rock bottom. Like, he even had been fired from a teaching job because, in fairness, I think he did nothing wrong. Someone was slashing his car tires and he grabbed them and beat the snot out of them, but it turned out to be a student.
Yeah.
And through a friend who called in some favors, he gets interviewed to be the caretaker at this hotel called the Overlook, which is in Colorado, and it's a winter job. Him and his family stays there, and once the snow hits, they're basically going to be snowed in, and his plan is to use the time to work on his play. Now, in the broad strokes, the film it does follow the plot, but in the more fine details of the book, we have the character of Jack, who's this very layered and nuanced character, and like his descent into madness feels more tragic in the book, where in the movie he kind of feels like he's already there. I'll talk about like some other differences, like Halloran does play the same but a different part, and I guess you could say the whole movie is the same but different. And like I said, the biggest same is just the character of Jack, because in the printed page there is more that struggle of him to keep it together for his family. This movie is really well, you can say the movie too, but the story, it's more of a metaphor for alcoholism, which there's a scene with this hornet's nest in the book that he bug bombs and thinks is dead, and that hornet's nest is actually a nice little metaphor for the dangers of alcoholism and how it can hurt your family. But that's what I got for now. I'll pass it on.
That's cool though.
So, like everything you said, like it's like a slow burn in the book into madness, where they kind of obviously quicken it all up, or they instantly make the character like what like Jack Nicholson's playing. They instantly make him like insane after a couple of like, you know, sessions in the Overlook Hotel. But it makes me wonder if that was done deliberate because of who the cast is the character Jack Nicholson. I wonder if they deliberately did that in the film, for example, because they just wanted Jack Nicholson to go off the rails.
And from what I understand, Kubrick really didn't care for the supernatural side of things and just wanted to do something that was more straight psychological.
Yeah, so I know like the books goes more towards the supernatural. And the film goes more along the psychological, but by the film's end, you do see like supernatural elements. Like, for example, you do see the ghost twins. You then do obviously, you do actually see, like, for example, you know, the elevator full of blood. You actually see the spirit of the woman in the bathroom, which is the thing that terrorized me most as a kid. Seeing when, you know, she rises from the bathtub, totally
That's
naked.
the most terrifying chapter in here.
Honestly, it's grotesque.
Joke's on her.
Overall,
I'm not picky.
Well, neither was Jack in the movie.
Yeah.
And since you mentioned the twins, that's another. In the book, it was just the caretaker. Grady married his wife and kid. There were actually no twins, but I do think the addition of the twins was a nice touch.
And, you know, him descent into madness, I think worked. But the overall, you know, story arc of you know, the film is about alcoholism and the dad descending into madness. but it's also about the son. It's about him discovering this gift known as the Shining, in him, it affecting him. And a lot of people probably thought, right, because of the abusiveness he received from his father, it coincided with him getting this gift. So you can imagine when he's talking about like seeing things or doing this, and the history with the dad that just shrugged it off and were probably like, well, it's because you're envisioning these things because of the things you've experienced through your drunken father. And it's not till we get to the movie that we see, he's now really fully engulfed because he's in this place, the Overlook Hotel, which is now engulfed with these dark spirits, these supernatural spirits. Now it's overwhelming him. And you see him on that little tricycle, and he's like going round the hotel, and the hotel just has this really deep, dark feel to it.
Yeah, it's very
and when
creepy.
they pull up, when they're driving up to the mountains, it's like when they drive up to the mountains, and it's like this ominous, this lovely view out into the landscape, but then you've got that really creepy kind of music that goes alongside it. And then they pull up to the hotel, and the hotel just looks, there's just something about it.
Yeah.
It just feels very off-putting. And then they walk into the foyer of the hotel, and there's nobody there except maybe the owner of the hotel. And you look out at the grandness, but it's also very old-fashioned. It feels old and dark and dingy, and it just feels like a place, like a place where something would preside that's dark and evil.
And the hotel's got a very dark history.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it does. When he's riding around that tricycle, like, even though like I know eventually there's gonna be something around a turn, it's just so creepy to not know what's around a turn, and being that it is an old hotel, and knowing what happened there is just so, because it does feel like the hotel is its own character as well. And then like the drive in, it's really, because in Doctor Sleep, when they drive to it, it's all snow and stuff. So, and I'm thinking, who the hell would want to go to this hotel? And then they can't go in the winter time, but like when they're driving there in the beginning, and it's so nice, and that it's like, this hotel must be great to be able to have to drive that far just for that. And then and what scares me though is behind them, that mountain. I'm thinking, what is it going to take an avalanche just to come down and take the whole thing out? But it's a really creepy, and like the hotel is just like its own essence to it. It's just crazy.
But I know what Anthony's saying, like, because he's a huge fan of Stephen King. He's a huge fan of the books, and we always would love that they take every page from every book and put it onto the screen. And we know it's never going to happen. Like, if they did that, for example, everyone loves Harry Potter, for example. If they made every page from every Harry Potter book straight onto screen, you'd be in the theater for 9 hours. But so I can get your point where you have a bit of a dislike for the film because it doesn't capture every element of the book that really helps probably fulfill the story. But I feel as if Kubrick did his best.
I will say this, had just the treatment of Jack himself been more book accurate, I would be a bigger fan of this film.
Yeah, me. So, like I say, I generally feel that the reason, if that's the one character that hasn't been completely portrayed right on screen in the way he should have, in my mind, that the reason that's been done is because when casting this film, because let's face it, there's a lot of people that'll pick up a book and they'll look at the book and they'll go, I could see Jason Statham in that role because he's badass. The character's badass. So then they get the book, they decide to take it to the studio will go, right, we'll greenlit this film because you've mentioned Jason Statham. Guess what? They build the whole story or they alter a character to fit around the actor. And maybe I feel as if when it comes to The Shining, I feel like a little bit of that's happened with the production and the creative process of making The Shining film. I think because of how big Jack Nicholson was and is at that time, I generally feel is maybe there were elements that they left out of the book, or there were elements to change because they fit around who they had put in the cast and who they had cast as the character. Because it's Jack Nicholson's name that's on the marquee for this film. So maybe a lot of the changes from the book to screen will happen because of, like I say, who the head cast is the character.
Also, another in the book, Halloran actually survives.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
but that's in the book. He's not using an axe. There's a game called Rook, which is like croquet, but everything's bigger, including the mallets. And he uses one of those mallets, and the book really sells home how terrifying it would be for him to use one of those mallets, because there's a scene where he's attacking his wife with one, and it talks about how he messes up her back, he hits her, he breaks bones, and how he's just using it to prolong the suffering. So there's also a weapon change, but I do get an axe looks better on screen, but on the page when you see the damage this thing can do without killing, it's pretty terrifying.
Yeah, that might look a little goofy, him running around with that after. It'd be like I don't know, like Alice in Wonderland, where she has the things when they're playing the birds or whatever. Like imagine him running around one of those.
But when I look at the final of the film where there's a giant maze at the back of the hotel that's now covered in snow, it does give off an Alice in Wonderland kind of vibe.
Yeah.
So if he did have the mallet, maybe, he obviously used an axe in the hotel, but maybe they could have switched off where they used that to kill that particular character. But then when he went into the back looking for his son, maybe they could have switched up where then he found a mallet like the one he's describing from the book, and he ends up chasing after him with the mallet around the maze. But we'll never know.
And the hedge mage was a movie creation too, and that's one change I get, because in the book there's hedge animals, and I do see that would have been hard to realize on screen, and I swear these hedge animals had to at least partially inspire the weeping angels from Doctor Who, because it's the same thing where you're looking at them, they don't move, but when you turn around they do move.
Don't blink.
I can see that vibe 100%. Yeah, but going back to the film, I do think, Danny Lloyd, who played Danny the son, I think for a young child actor, he was fantastic in this. I agree. Especially the scenes where he's he's being under the trance of The Shining, and his eyes are flittering. It looks like he's having some sort of seizure or fit, and them scenes were just brilliant. I thought Shelley Duvall was brilliant as Wendy. The bathroom scene with the axe obviously is iconic. Here's Johnny. That scene's iconic. I haven't read the book the way Anthony has, but I can appreciate the film for what it is. Maybe I would have a different opinion if I had read The Shining. But I can see why a lot of fans might not like the movie if they are a huge fan of the book. But I overall think the story is great. And I agree with Anthony what he said at the beginning. It's more of a tale from alcoholism into madness rather than supernatural. But I still enjoy it for what it is. What about you, Tony?
Yeah, I'm the same. I haven't read it either, but I said I've read things that, and I've seen the movies, and I think the book is better. So I totally get that, you know. But I never read the book, so I'm just watching it for what it is. And watching it now compared to when I watched it when I was younger, like I said, I know different things are hitting me now. It's like I never realized that the kid was clairvoyant. I just thought he could hear that guy's voice and stuff. And like then the hotel was showing him things. I thought it was just that. I didn't know that. And now I'm obviously over the years I figured it out. But like I didn't. I always thought that Jack Nicholson's Jack Torrance. I always thought he hated his family from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like the entire time, I thought it's like they're just a bother to him. And
if the hotel wasn't the reason to kill his family, Groundhog's Day would have been just as good of an excuse.
Yeah. Like his first moment was like, if you hear me typing, not hear me typing, what the fuck I'm doing in here? Like that scene, and she's just like, okay. like don't piss him off. It's like that's the start of it.
There's even a very uncomfortable tension in the car ride to the hotel.
Yeah. He's like, especially the last thing he says, like, you hear that? It's okay. He saw it on TV, and it's like look at his face, and he keeps looking at him, like I'm hungry. Well, you should have ate your breakfast, shouldn't you? And then the mother goes, "We'll get you something over there." Like it's like good and evil. Almost, because you could tell now that I'm older, I see she actually really loves her son. Like she cares for him. And that story with the whole arm thing, it's kind of believable. Like he probably didn't mean to do that because if right away he stopped drinking and that's like that was like the push he needed, but that's still really bad. But yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, I still like the movie. But I would like to read the book, but I honestly probably never will. I have that attention span of reading, maybe book to tape kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm about to say look for the audio book. That might be a bit better for you.
Yeah, it's on YouTube somewhere.
But I also think like there was one point where he tries to resist, like probably like the madness or the supernatural element helping him deep into madness because he I do think he tries to resist it in the beginning, but then he slowly just succumbs to it. And obviously at the bar is where he kind of like just gives in because he's having conversations with the spirits.
Yeah.
And then in the book, he more or less dies the hero. Like Danny's able to reach him long enough to.
Yeah. So see that element, I would.
You froze.
Oh yeah, it's dragging a little bit.
Yeah, I'm back. Oh, okay. I'm back. Are you back? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. So, like, I probably would have liked to see that in the actual film and like redeem himself and like not succumb to the madness or and like regain himself. But obviously that didn't happen in the film because I generally feel as if I'll go back to what I said. It's Jack Nicholson. They just wanted him to go balls to the wall crazy because they knew it would get butts and seats in the theatres. That's how I look at it. But as you know, Jack Nicholson had a lovely ending in this film. He looks amazing.
If you're cold, they're cold. Bring them inside.
Yes. Yes. But as you know, Stephen King did not like this particular film. He was a bit disappointed with how they adapted his novel. There has been, another remake of The Shining, which was a television special, similar to the one that came out, like Stephen King's It, which is remembered and recorded very well. And just to ask you too, if you have seen the Stephen King, The Shining television special, like that came out, mini-series. What did you initially think of that one, if you've seen it, Tony?
Oh, I couldn't stand the kid in it. I remember that. I don't remember much of it. I just remember I didn't like it. And that kid with, hello, Daddy. Hello. It's terrible. No, it's not.
Good job I didn't ask.
Was the movie, was it a TV movie first?
No, this came late 90s, mid to late 90s.
On TV?
Yeah, The Shining was a mid to late 90s miniseries.
Mm-hmm. No. I mean it.
That was early 90s.
And that was a movie on TV too.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
It was The Shining was 97. It was 90.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the It mini series. A lot of people think the one with Tim Curry was like a movie, but it wasn't. It was made for television.
Yeah, I just found that out this second. I had no idea.
Oh yeah, it was a television special, not an actual film.
Wow, that's how you make a TV movie.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was a mini-series. It was split into 2 parts, and then obviously later on, when it got re-released, it was just released all together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, Anthony, did you like the Shining television series, the mini-series?
I like the story better because it's a lot closer to the book, but I do got to admit, it does have more than its share of problems, like CGI that hasn't aged well, and you kind of get the feel when you watch it that, like, they probably didn't do a lot of takes. It was like, okay, did we get it? We got it. Good. Let's move on to the next scene. But I will at least stand by the fact that Steven Weber was a very compelling, more book accurate version of Jack.
So, just when we thought we were done with The Shining, I thought, all right, we're done. I never ever thought in a million years they would do a sequel or a follow-up.
Yeah.
But we knew that there was follow-ups in book form. So, this is when we got, in 2019, Dr. Sleep. Now, when I heard this was getting made, I was really shocked. And when I heard Ewan McGregor was being cast in the film as the older Danny, I was quite shocked as well, because I personally, I didn't know if he was a good fit. But when the film came out, and I did actually go to see this in theatres, I was really surprised in a positive way. He really surprised us. The film was really good. I really enjoyed this. And for me, I thought myself, they're not going to top The Shining. But I actually think this is a great follow-up to The Shining. I generally think I can watch both back to back and they thoroughly enjoyed by both of them. So we'll start with Anthony. Can you remember the first time you seen Dr. Sleep?
When I got a copy with a damaged dust jacket at Walmart for $5 a few years ago, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. The real, impressive feat to this movie is it managed to please fans of Stanley Kubrick's movie, and it managed to please fans of both books. So where I was not a fan of the Kubrick movie, I really, really like this movie.
Mm-hmm. What about Tony?
Last night was my first time seeing it. Never saw it before.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Yeah. That's all I have to say.
Oh, cool. Well, let's get cracking. Dr. Sleep is a 2019, sorry. I get my teeth back in. Dr. Sleep is a 2019 American supernatural horror film written, directed, and edited by Mike Flanagan. Now, Mike Flanagan, as you know, is making waves in the world of horror. You know, he did Midnight Mass, which was a series I reviewed earlier this year, which I thoroughly enjoyed. He's now being the man behind reviving the Exorcist franchise, which we'll probably talk about in February. And he's done so much more with horror that he's really carved his niche in it. So I've got faith in him after seeing this particular movie that he's going to at least do something well with The Exorcist.
I have faith in him. I, however, have no faith in Blumhouse.
Oh, no. No.
Well, that's a different story for a different time, my friends. It is a film adaptation of the 2013 novel by Stephen King and serves as a sequel to The Shining. The film stars Ewan McGregor as Dan Torrance, a man with psychic abilities and a drinking problem. I wonder how he got that off. Who struggles with his childhood trauma caused by the horrors at the Overlook Hotel. Rebecca Ferguson, Kylie Curran, and Cliff Curtis have supporting roles as a new characters. Amber Stone and Billy Freeman team up with Dan to take down Rose the Hat and her gang of followers. So this film, you know, really surprised me because obviously the first thing I thought, especially when you see this poster, it's going straight back to the Overlook Hotel, and it's going to be like a retelling of the first film with his son. Because like I say, I've never read The Shining, I've never read Dr. Sleep. So in my mind, I'm just assuming because of the poster, they're going back to the Overlook Hotel, and it's going to be like the majority of sequels. So for example, you look at Star Wars A New Hope, then you go to The Force Awakens, the plots are very similar and they're virtually just a repeat of things we've seen from each other. So I just expected that when I heard of Dr. Sleep. But then this film is totally not like the first one. And it totally takes you on such an unexpected ride.
Yeah.
And the great thing I like about this, because of the situation with you know, in the first film, where it's basically a psychological thriller set in a hotel like that's shrouded in the mountains. This one actually dives more into Danny and his abilities of The Shining, the gift, The Shine. And it really really focuses on that and the positives and the negatives of having that gift. And what you can do with it and the consequences if you use it in a positive light or a negative light. Because Rose the Hat I generally think she's one of the best characters I've ever seen on screen. How do you feel, Anthony?
I agree. And look, she was a great, absolutely phenomenal villain. And like, you have to, I know the writing helped, but you have to chalk so much of that to Rebecca Ferguson's performance. She's that right blend of charming enough for you to let your guard down, but then just so bloodedly terrifying when she needs to be.
Yeah, so as you know, the plot of this one is basically you've got this gang of people that are going around the country who are being attracted to people who they get the sense have the gift of the shine, and they basically are sucking them of their abilities in their life force like a drug. It's like an addiction that they use the ability and it keeps them energized, and it's like an addiction to the power of the shine. And at the same time, you've got Danny who's struggling with his own, inner demons after the events of the Overlook Hotel. And suddenly, as the plot progresses and he's getting more and more deeper involved with him maybe accepting his gift, or at least exploring that a possibility of getting over the things he's been through, he then starts to, interconnect with this young girl who is being targeted by Rose and the Hat and her gang, which is this lovely lady.
Interesting fact how you mentioned with the alcoholism, he inherited something from his father. Well, apparently the alcoholism may not be the only thing, because you know how she refers to him as Uncle Dan?
Yeah.
Well, back in the day, in the book, Jack had an affair, and let's just say her mother is Danny's half brother. So, yeah, there's a good chance that he even inherited the Shining from his father's side of the family, and it was passed on to his niece.
Oh,
wow.
Gotta read that book.
Yeah. So, one element of this particular film is obviously with Danny, the obviously because of what happened in The Shining, Halloran was helping him, basically introduces him to the Shine, and basically introduce him of the idea of him having these abilities. And then throughout this plot, you have like the spirit of Halloran trying to still guide him and teach him about the spirit boxes where you can lock your fears and lock the dark elements of the Shine in these boxes. And so he's being taught that throughout the power of the Shining. The power of Dr. Sleep. And then you have him having this psychic connection to this young girl who's now being targeted by Rose the Hat. And as the plot progresses, you also see, before he connects with her, you also actually see Rose and the gang perform another really grotesque kind of, attack on they abduct this young boy and they bury him.
Yeah.
And he actually tracks him down and finds him and saves him. And it just adds to the plot so well, like the dark element of this gang and her, and like it's just a great story.
It was that scene with the kid when they first filmed it, like he was so convincing. Everyone that was playing the True Knot characters, even Rebecca Ferguson, his performance made them like so visibly uncomfortable after they filmed the shot. Mike Flanagan told the kid, he's like, "You were great, you were phenomenal, keep doing what you're doing." But he's like, "As for the rest of you, I can't use any of the footage with your reactions. You look too uncomfortable.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good. They feel uncomfortable. I felt uncomfortable watching that part. That's
Yeah.
I get why they have it, and part of me is like, I'm glad they pushed that element, but it's so hard to see, especially having kids, and it's not even like a quick scene either. It's like goes on and on. And it's like, oh my god, this poor kid. Can this kid get a break in the movies?
And should be noted that, like, once they start feeding on the essence, they can't stop. They have to keep doing it, or they're gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like a drug. It's like if you're a heroin addict, if you go cold turkey on and you don't like slowly, adapt yourself and wean yourself off it. If you just stop cold turkey, you'll die. So it is like a drug addiction. Like, and it's funny how both movies in their own way, or both stories, deal with addiction in their own way. Like in the first one, it's about alcoholism. It's about with the super, natural elements added into it. Where this one's also about a person dealing with PTSD, past trauma, because of the events of the first one. Then at the same time as he's dealing with that, he's also dealing with his own alcoholic issue. And then at the same time, you've got this crazy gang that's basically using the gift of the shame in their own way as a drug. And it's like become like this really sick addiction. And it's not just a sick addiction. They're using the shame. They're basically kill and torture kids.
Yeah. Like, I got like one question. Like, given the job you have now, how does the with Dan working at the hospice, like, how does that hit now with your job?
It's sad. It's uncomfortable. It is a bit sad and uncomfortable. But I don't know. There's a part of it that's quite like somber about it. Like when you see somebody obviously sadly pass away, it's heart wrenching. But then obviously with him having the gift and he can speak to these people before or after they go, it's kind of like it gives you like this element of hope or element of peace that all, like, especially what I do when you've sat there and you've watched the tragic events transpire, it makes you feel like that there is something on the other side, that once it's all said, that the pain goes away and there is a bit of relief, and they're finally at rest, and that all the pain's gone, and it's weird. It's a mixture of different emotions when I watch them particular scenes. And like I say, unless you work in the industry or work in that field, it's hard to describe.
Yeah. I like the parts with Dan and the cat.
Yes.
I like how he comforted them in that, because he's telling, like, I don't know if there is somewhere, but there's definitely, it doesn't end here. And it was a nice scene. I thought,
yes.
well, he's definitely that's definitely where he should be.
Oh,
is
definitely.
the cat in the book, Anthony?
I haven't read it, but I know the cat is a part of the book, because it is like it said in the book, the cat goes to people who are about to pass away.
Well, believe it, that he has a story. Like in the UK, we have robins, and the robins mostly, if you get a Christmas card or any element like that, they always show the robin at Christmas time. It's like a bird that they can recognize with Christmas. Believe it or not, there's always a robin that appears at the hospice, like in the gardens. It'll sit on the water fountain, but it always seems to turn up just when someone's about to pass.
Really?
Yeah. If anyone sees the robin, they always go. If they ever see the robin at work, they always say, "Oh, I've seen the robin." Oh, right, we better prepare ourselves. It's just weird. And 9 times out of 10 it happens. So it just shows you animals are connected to life. And obviously death.
Hey, I
Which
think
is the
they can
weird
sense
element.
stuff. Like when a dog like comes near you or something, like knows what you're talking. I believe that. I don't know how they just know.
Well, they often say, like, where if an animal's staring at like a corner of an empty room, they can see something we can't.
Yeah.
And I genuinely believe that's true.
Yeah. It's possible.
Mm-hmm. So obviously, I mentioned earlier how I thought the actor who played Danny the child in the previous film was a fantastic actor. But what did you guys think of Kylie Curran, who played Abra, the young girl? I thought she was decent in this as well.
Yeah, I think she did a good job. What, Anthony?
I said she was really good.
So, like, yeah, really good. So, as you know, as the plot progresses, Rose the Hat, she now gets a sense of Danny, and she's like kind of connects with him. In Abra, he basically saves Abra from being the next kid that's about to be abducted. So he decides to hide her. And so he decides not only is he going to hide her, he's actually going to confront his past and beat it. And so they end up back at the Overlook Hotel, which, even the drive back up to the hotel, just the look at it, just the feel of it, it just hits you. And I think why this film works is, unlike The Shining, where it's all just on one location in the Overlook, and it's, Jack confronting the spirit, and Danny kind of like discovering The Shining. The great thing about this one is it's set somewhere else, and the hotel's the second location, and it wasn't the main focus. The main focus was focusing on Danny and Rose and the gift of the shine, and showing you the different elements of it, the positives and the negatives of it, and building a plot about it around these characters, rather than them kind of just discovering it in this hotel with the supernatural element added onto it.
Mm-hmm.
So they end up back at the hotel, and obviously he is now trying to confront his past, and when he meets a familiar face, which, this is like a representation of his father. Jack Nicholson was asked to return, and he declined. They then said, right, if you don't want to return, we'll create a new character for you to do a cameo. And he declined that as well. And Jack Nicholson, this is made in 2019. He would have been in his late 70s, heading into his 80s. I think a part of him was he was done with acting, but another part of it was like, well, I don't actually look like I did in the 1980s when I made The Shining.
Yeah.
And apparently wants you to go Stone Age, so unless they did it, AI or CGI.
I think they could have did a CGI kind of thing, but maybe he could have recorded the vocals for it. But instead we get Elliot, which is
I thought the actor.
What's his name? The director's Midnight Mass. And I don't know. Is it Midnight Mass? I know he's in the other ones. I can't even remember their names.
I think he is in the Midnight Mass. But going back to the room with the axe through the door, it is very, nostalgic, but it also adds some new elements to it. And of course, when he goes there, because he's been kind of learning about, the boxes and how to trap the things that, the dark things that make you terrified and scary. He manages to trap the spirits into this box and lock them down. And then who appears but Rose the Hat?
Yep.
And obviously she's like basically fully given to the power of the Shine. And she's, it's basically it was like the Force. It was like, the Jedi versus the Sith, the way the battles go on, and then eventually he releases the box and the entities from the box to confront her, which overwhelms her, and she like comes to a very dark ending thanks to the power of what's in the boxes. Oh, it was beautiful how she died. And she truly deserves to die. And if you know you love to hate a character in a film, it means the actor or the actress has done the damn job.
Oh yeah, I mean the second they took that kid in the beginning to the next kid, it's like, I don't want anything good to happen to these people. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. So we'll start with my friend, Mr. Tony the Dead. Overall thought on Dr. Sleep?
Well, again, I didn't read the book, but as just the movie itself, I liked it. I thought that, the look of like, her, I don't know, meditating and going into the room and then all these tricks they're playing each other. I think that's very cool for the movie, but I can't look at this as a Shining sequel. I think this is like a standalone movie that people have this, because it's like it went from like Die Hard to like Die Hard 4. Everybody's a superhero kind of feeling thing. And I don't like the fact that the shine comes out and they inhale it. I don't like that. I would rather just people having like these clairvoyant things, and I don't know. I don't like the kid killing, of course, but I don't know. I just didn't really like the whole shine coming out of the people like that. And then, if once you do that, then you have to keep doing it or you'll die. Like that sucks. Like who would want to do that? But like, I don't know. I thought. Go ahead.
No, like in my mind, I'm thinking, do they die or do they just grow old? Because it makes me think, is it like the fountain of youth when they kill a kid or kill someone with a shine, they take their life essence, so because of that, it keeps them young and healthy.
Like kind of like in Hocus Pocus, where they like breathe in the youth.
Yeah. Because if you look at Halloran. In the first film, he was an old man and had the gift of the shine, because obviously he didn't like do them element of draining people of their version of the shine to stay youthful. He lived a peaceful life with the gift, where they're actually manipulating the gift.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Anthony?
I'll be right back. I got to open the door for Shanna, but Anthony will talk.
I thought it was a great job. They managed to see, like I said, they somehow managed to please both the fans of the books and the movies and incorporate some elements of the first book into this movie, because in the book it's set on a campground where the Overlook Hotel used to be, because Jack in the book actually dies the same way Danny does in this movie. So this film really achieved the impossible. It was a satisfying sequel to a movie that many people consider a timeless classic, and it somehow managed to please the fans of both the Shining book and the Dr. Sleep book, at the same time. So a lot of good things to say about this movie.
Yeah, like I really like it, and unlike Tony, where he sees this as just like a spin-off, I actually do see it as a successful sequel to the first one, because obviously this still has supernatural elements, but it comes out right at the end, where the first one's all about supernatural elements within the foundations of a hotel. And of course, Danny is very young. He's just discovering that he's got this ability to shine. So obviously, years later, he's now a fully grown adult. He still hasn't truly explored the shine, but then because of the events with Rose the Hat, who is now somebody who has the gift and is more experienced in it, he's now having to like learn to adapt and use it for positivity, where she uses it for negativity. And there's no there's not a lot of supernatural stuff happens like when it comes to ghosts or spirits or anything like that, apart from in the hospice and stuff. Because it's not focusing on them, it's focusing on these characters and the ability of the shine more than anything else. And then it brings the supernatural element right at the end when they go back to the Overlook Hotel. So for me, it's just enhancing the story in terms of explaining and showcasing more of the shine than it is the supernatural elements, where the first one, it's more about this. Everything's about the supernatural element of these dark spirits in this hotel, where this one's about showcasing somebody and the kids finding out they've got the shine in the positives and the negatives of what you can do with it. So with that said, your ratings for both films, gentlemen. We'll start with Anthony.
Which one?
Just because even though I don't like The Shining, there still is a lot of quality that went into it. So I'll be nice and give it a 4 out of 10 for the quality. And Dr. Sleep, which really surprised me, I'm going to give a 9.5 out of 10.
Nice. Tony.
Wow. Those are so far apart. That's not even funny. I was so surprised he didn't like The Shining. But yeah, The Shining, I still like The Shining. Again, I'm sure I'd be the same as Anthony if I read the book and was like passionate about it. But based on just what I know, I would give that The Shining a 9 out of 10. And then Dr. Sleep, like I said, for a movie on its own, I think it's good. Not a big fan of the way that happens. Like, I don't know. It's just, I just don't like that. I don't know. But I do love being that watched Welcome to Derry. I saw that first before I saw Dr. Sleep. So when he started talking about the boxes, I was like, oh, I was like that meme with Leonardo DiCaprio going like that, where he's pointing at the TV. That's why I was like, oh, that's he was talking about that.
Yeah, because Holloran's in Welcome to Derry, a younger version, and it shows you his past and how he was getting basically bullied by his father, and then they introduced the element of the boxes.
Yeah.
So it shows you basically how he learned about the boxes, and obviously later on in Dr. Sleep, he teaches Danny about the boxes.
Yeah.
So it's like a passion of the torch.
Yeah.
So it's great. It's great how they interconnected the stories from from It to The Shining or Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, I thought that was very, very clever how they did that. Also, the beginning when the kid is on the tricycle and he's going through the hallway and then he turned. I thought that was the original movie, until the kid's face. I saw the kid's face. I was like,
Yes.
holy shit, that was good. And the woman who played his mother in it, she didn't exactly look like her, but man, did she sound like her. She did an excellent job.
Mhm.
I liked the characters. I liked the villains. As a movie on its own, this one's like an 8 for me. I did
Mhm.
like it. I liked. Is it Ewan McGregor? Is that his
Ewan
name?
McGregor, yeah.
Yeah, I like him for it. I would have rather seen somebody maybe a little more scruffier, but I think he did a good job. But yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, as for me, The Shining, I'm going to give a 7 out of 10. And as for Doctor Sleep, I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10 because I love them both. But I think they both flow equally into each other. I just think it's two sides of a great story. The Shining basically introduces you to the Shine. Danny's just a kid, so he hasn't really had time to really explore it or discover what the hell it is. He just knows with the ability he can talk to the afterlife or the supernatural. And of course, with the dad, he's obviously just sucked into the madness because of his addiction. And then with the second one, he's now, Danny's now older. He's now basically ignoring or trying to forget about he's got the gift to shine, but then he finally accepts it, and you get to see more elements of what that ability has and what it can do, both the positives and the negatives. And then they end up back to the Overlook Hotel, and then he confronts his past and finally gets over his trauma, his PTSD, and I guess finds fully inner peace.
But why did he have to
Um,
sacrifice himself?
So
Because
in me, it's just a great.
What,
I
Anthony?
I already explained
Oh,
this a
back.
little. Actually,
Oh,
in the book, he actually didn't die, but because they were also incorporating elements of The Shining into the book into this film, they basically gave him Jack's death from the book.
oh.
Yeah.
Well, he had plenty of time to run out of there. He just sat down, and I'm just like, "Why are you doing this? Get out! That little girl needs a guide." Well, I know he could still guide her, but
Yes.
still, it would have been nice to be alive too.
It's like she doesn't need to try driving back down by herself.
No,
But it also makes you think. It also makes you think he wanted to die.
kind of,
He
yeah.
wanted to, he'd lived most of his life with PTSD and the trauma, and he was just tired and just probably like, well, I've saved her from the bad woman. I'm gonna fucking die now.
I guess you can argue too, because the hotel at least briefly possessed him, that the hotel would, whether it was destroyed or not, always have some small of a degree of a hold on him. So he just decided, you know what, I'm taking this thing down with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Perhaps.
It's true. So, gentlemen, that's The Shining, that's Doctor Sleep. Two really interesting films that I think work well together. Next up, coming on Into the Darkness in the new year. Our next franchise discussion is going to be the Insidious franchise. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're also in February going to be tackling The Exorcist. So that's what's next up on Into the Darkness. As for the entertainment headquarters, I do have a couple of things I'm working on tomorrow. But next week, just before we break up for Christmas, me, Mr. Anthony Jordan, DJ Neko and DJ Anubis are going to be doing the next Christmas special, which is Scrooge and Edward Scissorhands. And yes, that's going to be interesting. And tomorrow night, I cannot wrap up 2025 without celebrating Gamera, the Guardian of the Universe. Godzilla's big bad rival. It is 60th anniversary this year, and so I'm going to wrap up my kaiju stuff of 2025 by reviewing and celebrating Gamera and his entire career with Anthony Jordan and a host of others. But Mr. Tony the Dead, what's coming to your channel?
Basically just Ghouls of Midnight. I got 2 new ones up. Well, on my channel I have episode 104, and on Anubis's channel they have episode 103. And then we're going to actually be recording on Monday for Ghouls instead of Wednesday because it's Christmas Eve. And then the following Monday we're going to record again on a Monday because then it's New Year's Eve. So I have my pick. I don't know what his pick is for this coming week, but go over there and check it out. I'm doing all Christmas horror this month. He's picking not that. So, but yeah, it's been fun. I've been seeing a bunch of the Christmas horror ones that I haven't seen yet. So, yeah, that's about it. And then on my White Trash channel, I just uploaded a Black Christmas song. So.
Yes.
There's that. That's about it.
Anthony Jordan.
Well, I got the 2 appearances you mentioned on your channel. Other than that, my last video this year is going to be my Gundam Wing Endless Waltz review premiering next week.
Yes. So that's what I've got. That's what these guys have got. The Shining Rules, Dr. Sleep Rules. 2026, we're going to have a lot of good shit coming to all our channels. I've got some plans I would like to do and some more specials. For them that don't know, there is currently on the post section on the entertainment headquarters, there is a poll up for the next special that we're going to do in 2026. It'll be the first special of 2026. You can pick between the Pirates of the Caribbean, the Rocky franchise, the Godfather, or Beverly Hills Cop. So if you like those franchises and you would like us and me guests to review one of them, please vote. The vote and the choice is up to you. And please like, share, and subscribe to Mr. Tony of the Dead, Anthony Jordan, and if you want to, if you're not already, the entertainment headquarters. But like I always say, keep on enjoying your movies, keep on enjoying all things entertainment, and we'll catch us all at the next one.